Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President of Sales, Jim Winkler!
All right, here we go. Hello, Hong Kong. How is everyone? Good morning. Oh, it's great to see you. Great to see you, James. Great to see you in the fourth country or so. So this is wonderful. It's great to be here. Hey, I want to do something real quick if we could. I want to share with the rest of the world the excitement going on with Hong Kong. Would that be okay to do? All right, what I'm going to do a Facebook Live video. I'll be facing this way, and when I turn my back here, you guys go up and just we'll give them a big rousing. Let's wake up the rest of the world, okay? Let them know what's happening. So here we go. All right, we're here in Hong Kong for the start of their annual convention. It is day one, and we have a packed arena of excited unfranchised owners. We thought we'd share a little bit with the rest of the world and show them what's going on here in Market Hong Kong. Come on, let's bring it. Oh, look at what we have in the crowd here. We're ready to go. All right, here we go. It's going to be a great event. Stay tuned and watch for more. All right, Billy, could you take this for me, buddy? Thank you. All right, I am so excited to be here. Let's get rolling. I'm going to spend some time talking about prospecting and recruiting today. How many people would like to get better at that? Right, that's something we probably all want to improve on and build with in our business. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to give you the secret right off the bat because I think it's important. I know a lot of you came here today because you want to know the secret to how to build the business fast. Am I right? So here's the secret. There is no secret. Sorry. It's you know what it is? It's just boring old work habits. It's getting your work done every day when nobody's watching. You know, we've become a society of social media, haven't we? Just like I did, where everybody posts everything they do. But the truth is, building the business isn't about posting. Building the business is about getting in and doing that work that it takes to get it done. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. You know, our best product has always been and will always be belief. And I believe when we talk prospecting and recruiting, sometimes if we're not doing it at the level we want to, it's because our belief level isn't where it needs to be yet. So hopefully we're going to get there through these next couple days. In fact, not hopefully, we will get there. And I want you to take action right away as we're talking about things during these 2 days, because the best time to do something is when your belief level is at the highest level that it can be at. I want you to be a doer, not a thinker. Do you know the difference? A thinker, you ever see somebody come in the business and they think about it really hard? They really think about it a lot. They're good thinkers. And then you see somebody who comes in and all they do is start talking to people, start moving products, start selling tickets, start showing the plan, and they're building the business so fast. The other person's thought it all out, and the other one's making a whole bunch of money. I want to be the doer. I want you to be the doer rather than the thinker. I'm having a little bit of an issue with this clicker, guys, if we've got maybe a backup to move it a little quicker. Add 2 possibilities a day. So we're going to talk prospecting and recruiting. Add 2 possibilities a day. How can we do that? We can do it so many different ways as we meet people, social media, different things like that. And I'll talk about that as we go through this segment today. Call 1 person a day. It was funny. We did a leadership training on Thursday, and I asked people, I said, how many of you can call 1 person a day? And about, out of maybe 80 people, about 10 hands went up. Then I said, how about if I pay you $1 million, thank you very much, $1 million USD if you call 1 person a day about our business for the next 3 years? How many people could do it? Every hand in the place went up. Everyone said, I can do it. Here's the problem. I can't pay it to you ahead of time, but you can earn it by making the calls. Because everything in our business starts by making a call, whether it's retailing a product, whether it's selling a ticket, whether it's showing the business plan and getting a new business partner. It all starts with a call, with talking to someone. And then show one business plan a week. Now, I'll tell you what I would do. If I wanted to show at least one a week, I would schedule 2. Because there's going to be some weeks people are going to cancel on you. There's going to be weeks something might come into your life. So if I have 2 scheduled, I should be able to get at least 1 done per week. Now, I know those don't seem like big numbers, right, when I show that. It doesn't seem like that's anything special. Everything I'm talking to you about is not about just you doing it. It's about teaching your team to do it. Because when you take these numbers and now you add 10 teammates, now what we have going on is 20 possibilities a day being added, 10 phone calls a day being done, 10 plans being shown a week. When your group grows to 100, which it will if you follow these simple steps, now we got 200 possibilities a day. We have 100 calls a day. We have 100 plans a week going on. So it's all about doing small duplicatable steps that your team can do with you. When you talk prospecting and recruiting, I think one of the first things you have to look at is, I need a good names list. And sometimes I'll hear people say, I don't have any names. And it makes me laugh, because you do have names. What you're doing is you're prejudging who will be good and who won't be good in the business. I've been in the business 21 years. If I haven't come close to running out, I'm going to tell you, you have a lot of names on yours. So, whether it's friends, family, neighbors, could have been teammates from a sport you played, high school classmates, college classmates, organizations, associations, work colleagues, social media. What a way to reconnect and add. I'll tell you what I love about social media. It just adds possibility after possibility after possibility for us. It makes that, it's almost like going to the casino and having unlimited chips, because you can keep adding people to take a look at the business. What I want to do is something that I had to do when I started. When I was new to the business, the lady who helped train me said, Jim, I need you to make a names list of 300 names and phone numbers. Now, this was in 1997, so we didn't have any numbers in our phones. We didn't even have cell phones. If we did, they were in a big bag. We didn't have social media to grab names from. So I had to go home. I went home that night and spent about 5 hours developing a names list of 300 names and numbers, because I told her I needed to build this fast. I said, I want to be annualizing 6 figures at the end of 1 year. I didn't want the 2 to 3 year plan. I wanted the 1 year plan. And she said to get to 2,000 USD a week, I needed to build a big names list. So I went home, built this list, and I thought it was the dumbest exercise I had ever done in my life. Anybody else feel that way? I'm like, this is so stupid. I was a vice president of sales of a company. I'm putting all these names down there, and I'm thinking, they're not going to want to do it. This person, I'm not even going to want to talk to them. But I had promised her I would come back with 300 names and phone numbers. So I showed up the next day, handed her my names and numbers, and you know what she told me? She goes, I don't want them. At which point I started almost shaking, because I was like, what do you mean you don't want them? Is this like some kind of weird joke to see if I'll really build the business and do it the right way? And she said, no, I needed you to get the names, because I don't want you to be like other people. And I said, what do you mean like other people? She said, so many people come into this business and they think, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to find the right person right away and we're going to build it fast. And they have a names list of 5 people and they go talk to 3 and 3 tell them they're not interested. It's not going to work. Why are you doing it? And they're ready to quit because now they think they're out of names. She said, you go talk to 3 people. You have 297 more names to get off your list by the end of a year. I looked at it and said, okay, that's great. That was my coaching. Because she said, your job now is to get the names off the list. How do you get the names off the list? By talking to them. So I want to do something real quick. Can somebody give me a clock, like 2.5 minutes is what I need, like on your phone? Anthony. And I want you to take out a fresh piece of paper if you have one, or you can type into your phone. But we're going to do a 2.5-minute memory jogger names list. And let's see how many names we can think of. But I need you to do something for me. I don't want you to prejudge whether you think they will do the business or not. I just want you to write down who you know when I say something, okay? All right. Anthony, are we good to go? Give me a thumbs up when you want me to start. All right, here we go. Who do you know that takes vitamin supplements, takes a multivitamin? Who do you know that goes to the gym and works out? Who do you know that works out? Who do you know that's an entrepreneur? They own a business of any kind. Maybe it's where you get your nails done. Maybe it's where you get your hair done. Maybe it's the restaurant that you eat in, but they're an entrepreneur. Maybe it's your accountant. Who do you know that has ever tried to lose weight? Anyone who's ever tried a weight loss program, write down their name. Any friend that's ever talked about wanting to lose weight. Who do you know that doesn't have enough time in their life? They make good money, but they complain about not having time to spend it with the people they want. Who do you know that's a really hard worker, but they're not getting paid enough? They're great workers, but they're not getting paid the amount they should. Who do you know that's got children that are in school right now? Any kind of school, grade school, elementary school, high school. Who do you know that's a single mom or a single dad? Who do you know that's a professional? Who do you know that's a professional? Who do you know that's good in sales? Any kind of sales. Inside sales, outside sales. Who do you know that's in management? They manage people. They manage teams of people at work. Who are some of your favorite work colleagues you ever had? People you loved working with, you wish you could work with again? Which relatives do you have that are not in the business right now that you wish were? So if you've got a cousin or a sister or an aunt or an uncle that you wish would look at the business, who is that person? Who are the top 3 people you're most scared to approach about this business? They're some of the most successful people you know. 10 seconds, okay. Who do you know that plays a sport of any kind, or coaches, or is a teacher? Who do you know that's a teacher? Okay, I'm done. All right, we took 2.5 minutes. Now, by a show of hands, how many people have at least 5 names on their list? So almost everybody has 5 names. How many have 10? Wow, you guys are good. How about 15? Wow, 20? Wow, that group right there, you were working. Awesome, 20, good job. All right, so we took 2.5 minutes. Now, what's your job? Your job is to get those names off the list. Imagine we took an hour to do that. You sat down with somebody and you really worked at it. Could you put a big names list together? Sometimes people say, well, I started somebody new, but they didn't do their names list. Schedule an appointment to sit down with them and do what I just did and walk them through. You can Google and find memory joggers like I just did with you and help them build the names list. But the key is this. It's not who they think will be good. It's who do they know. All we do is introduce the business. We don't try to convince people. We introduce it and we sort through and we find out if they're the right people or not. That's the only thing we're doing. You can add names to your list because possibilities are everywhere we go. Tonight, we'll go out to dinner. I'll guarantee you there'll be somebody who could be added to that list. Today, Mark and I worked out. We had a personal trainer. The personal trainer's coming to the event tomorrow. Okay? So there's possibilities everywhere. The question is, do you talk to them? Or are you aware of them, isn't it? Because sometimes we sort of turn it off and we don't think about it. My wife always says to me, Jim, can you not recruit somebody tonight? And I always say, honey, that's not fair to them. If I come across a great person, I'm going to want to talk to them because it's going to help them a lot more than it's going to help anybody else. So that's your mindset you have to have, is that you're going to be helping people by doing this. With social media, you can reconnect with people so easily. So use that to add some of those names. It doesn't mean you have to contact them, but you can start to reconnect. Same thing with getting in groups possibly where there might be a reason to meet people. I mean, there's so many ways right now to I always tell you, if you say you don't have enough names, you're just not trying. I mean, you can join new groups, you can do different things, you can start working out, you can find people, so many different ways to be able to do this. Always, the best recruiters are always asking questions. I love it. My wife is one of the best recruiters in the world, and it's because she's always asking. Like, I'm more quiet. I had to learn to do this. This was just natural to her, but what do you do for a living? You know, when you meet somebody, what do you do for a living? How long have you worked here? How long have you lived in the area? What does your spouse do? What brought you here? Do you have family in the area? Do you do this full time? Do you keep your options open? You know, sometimes we're talking to the wrong person. That's why it's good to ask what their partner or spouse does. Sometimes, I was talking to one lady, I said, do you have any family in the area? She said, I have 11 brothers and sisters. Now, when she told me that, all I saw was a line going down like this, right? 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And that's what my mind went that way because I'm like, if she has 11 brothers and sisters, there's going to be some of them who are going to be interested. She kept telling me she would never be able to do the business. She couldn't sell. She was scared to talk to people. She is now my #1 retailer in my organization. And she's a senior master coordinator in the business. The reason she thought she couldn't sell and the reason she thought she couldn't talk to anybody is because her belief level was down here. She hadn't started the business. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know how she could help people. You think that's changed after, when she started the business, she was working 3 jobs. She was a physical therapist as one of them and working 2 other part-time jobs as a physical therapist. She has now works 2 days a week and takes care of her grandchildren the other 3 days a week. So you think her belief level's gone up? I think there's 2 top 10 lists. So what we need to do as we're putting that names list together is we got to build top 10 lists. There's 2 that I like you to put together. One is the top 10 people you think would be the best at the business. Top 10 people you think would be the best at the business. The second one is the 10 people you think would look at the plan if you asked them to look at it. And people say, well, they'll look at it, but maybe they wouldn't be that good. Don't worry about that. What we want to think about is who do they know? Because this is another thing with prospecting and recruiting you need to understand. If I'm looking and I'm going to recruit Michael into the business, if I'm showing him the business, I'm not thinking about Michael. I'm thinking about the 300 people Michael knows. And I'm looking through them. I remember when one day I was sitting like you guys are right here, and JR was talking. He said, you're missing the point of prospecting. You're always trying to get the person involved that you're talking to. He said, I'm always trying to get to who they know. They're my doorway. They're my window. Once I got that, the business went so much faster. So 2 top 10 lists. A lot of times we get stuck on an answer to what is it, don't we? We're like, but what if they ask me what it is? And it's funny, because in our regular job, someone says, what do you do? You say, well, I'm an executive. What do? I'm a vice president. What do you do? I'm a teacher. Someone asks you about your business, you go, like we can't get it out what it is. So I want to give you a couple easy ones, all right? Because it has to be easy. It doesn't have to be some long type of answer, because I think the longer it is, the more confusing it gets. Would you guys agree? So here's one I use. We're really a hybrid between franchising, internet marketing, and traditional business. We take the best of each to create an entirely new concept called the unfranchise, or called the shopping annuity. Again, make it short, make it intriguing. The goal is to start and continue the dialogue. Sometimes, though, we get asked, what do I do, don't we? That's another thing that comes. So a lot of times I'll revert back to our online presence. I teach people to make a lot of money online with a new concept called the unfranchise or called the shopping annuity, again, using either one of those. What is it? This is from Elizabeth Weber Walliser. It's a way to make a lot of money online. What do? I teach people how to make a lot of money online. She keeps it pretty simple, doesn't she? She's just, because she's not trying to do everything with a what is it. She's just trying to continue the question. Colton Whited, who just hit supervising coordinator at the age of 24. It's called the shopping annuity. Have you ever heard of it? Basically, I help people take money they're already spending on stuff and turn it into a business that pays them on an ongoing basis. Kay and Joe Gerard, directors in the company. Have you ever heard of the shopping? So when someone says, what is it? They turn it back with a question to the person. Have you ever heard of the shopping annuity? It's a way of taking dollars you're already spending and putting them into a business for yourself. I can't believe you've never heard of it. Lynn Mitchke, this is my sister-in-law. Excuse me. Lynn, I love her answer because it's so simple. It's a business system for people who want more income but don't want another job. Wouldn't you agree? People want to be entrepreneurs. They don't want another job. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to own their own business. What do you do when you have their interest and they start asking too many questions? Because now we answer the what is it, right? Okay, we got a couple easy answers, but then they start asking more questions. Here's what I'm going to suggest. First, answer one or two of them. It's okay to answer a question or two. Sometimes I hear trainers on stage and they're like, I don't answer anything. And I think that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. If I called up my friend and I said, Michael, I want to show you what I'm doing with a new business concept. And he said, well, what is it? And I said, it's a hybrid between traditional business franchising and online marketing. You're really going to love it. And he asked me another question. I said, no, whoa. I can't answer any more. We need to get together. He'd be like, what do you mean you can't answer a second question? No, it's against the rules. Immediately, he'd be thinking what? You're weird. And you're weird because you're in this company. And if I have to be weird to be successful, I don't want to do it. So always be thinking, when I'm recruiting, I'm always thinking, what are they thinking as I talk to them? Because really what we're doing, everything we do in the business is a teaching moment. And whether you realize it or not, when you're prospecting, you're teaching them how they're going to prospect. So after a question or two, I'll just say, everything's hard to explain. Can we get together? Different kinds of approaches. You'd be great at what I do. When I find somebody I think is wonderful, I just flat out say, I said, you know what? After we've maybe had a little conversation, I'd say, you would be great at what I do. I would love to share it with you. If I can show you a way, that's one that you use when somebody's complaining. You know, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I wish I could go to my kids' games. I wish I could go to the recitals. If I could show you a way that you could do that in the future, would you be interested in learning? Have you ever thought of working for yourself? I love to ask people if they've ever, some people never have. Some people have thought about it their whole lives and never taken action. Are you someone who keeps your financial options open? Do you keep your financial options open? Call workshops. I want to talk a little bit about call workshops because sometimes they get confused. Sometimes people think a call workshop has to be like 5 or 10 or 15 people. A call workshop is anything that is more than one person. If it's Joanne and I making calls, we are doing a call workshop. That's all. That's fine. 2 people. Why do call workshops work? They work because they're scheduled. If I said tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Alex, you and I are going to do a call workshop together. He's my new guy. We're going to do a call workshop together. Tomorrow at 7, when I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to have to do it because I scheduled it. If I don't schedule it and I just say, I'm going to make calls on my own tomorrow, what happens a lot of times? It gets to be 7 o'clock, 6:30, you're thinking, oh, man, there's a great show on, or I'm tired from the weekend. I really don't want to make calls. I'll make them tomorrow. Anybody ever do that? Say, I'll make the calls tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? Same thing. We don't do it again. It's like working out. It's better when you have a partner there because it makes it accountable to doing it. It's coaching. It starts a person fast. It's accountability. It continues momentum in the business. What you're looking at here are, when we do moving up seminars, we keep track of how many appointments are booked, how many people ask, what is it, and how many people say no when we actually talk to them on the phone. Now, when we do these a lot of times are people in their first year in the business. Sometimes it's experienced people, but it's a mixture of all levels of unfranchised owners. And we teach them a very simple way to make phone calls, and we do it by talking to somebody. We can text to let them know we're going to call them, because I know texting is a great way of communication for all of us. But we actually book the appointment by being on the phone with them. Now, if you look at this, that says there were 322 appointments booked. It also says only 33 people said no. So that means out of 355 actual people we talked to, 322 said, yes, I'll book an appointment with you. 33 said no. And the funny part is only 26 said, what is it? If you look at the next board, it's 173, 12, and 12. Every moving up seminar I've done for 10 years, 8 a year, these are the same numbers. I start every one the same way. I say, here's what the percentages are going to be, because they're this way every time. And what it proves, the reason people move up after a moving up seminar, one of the big reasons, is because they understand that if they pick up the phone, they're going to get an appointment. And if they get an appointment, they're either going to sell product, get a new business partner, or sell a ticket. And all of those things are great things, but they all start with a phone call. What are some questions that come up as you're making calls? Sometimes you say, what if I get a voicemail? And this is so funny. When I first started teaching this, people would get a voicemail and they would leave these long messages. Like, hey, this is Jim. Give me a call back. I found a great new business. I really want you to see it. It's so exciting. We're going to make a ton of money. Please call me back as fast as you can. This is incredible. And people would never call them back. So here's what we taught them to do. If I'm calling Nina, and I know the minute I call her, my name's going to pop up on her phone, right? She's my friend. She knows it. All I'm going to say is, hey, Nina, it's Jim. Give me a call when you get this. That's my whole message. Nothing more. I don't go into anything, because when she calls me back, then we'll talk. Now, if I met somebody at a restaurant yesterday, or I met somebody out and about, then my call would be different, because I may have to remind them where I met them. I'm on the voicemail. I may have to say my name a couple times. I may have to say I'm expanding my business in the area. We talked about that a little bit. I would love to meet with you, because maybe you could help lead me to some of the right people. So different ways of leaving a voicemail. Can I text someone to let them know I'll be calling? Absolutely. I think that's great. And I'll show you a couple simple texts you can use. What if a call starts to go too long? Then you cut it off. Or if it goes long because it's a personal issue, you forget about business and you just talk to the person about what's going on. If someone asks questions, we already said, we tell them we want to get together to book, to show it to them. And can I do it from a distance? Absolutely, because we can do it by Skype, we can do it by Zoom, we can do it by, there's so many technologies today that you can do a call workshop at a distance. It's great to be able to do. You know, it's funny because I'm here, and there's something that always happens wherever I travel. It happened when we were in Taipei. It happened when we were in Malaysia. It happened in Singapore. And somebody came up to me and said, but Jim, you don't understand. It's different here. It's different in Hong Kong. And I know some of you are thinking that right now, am I right? Yeah, this guy, he's okay, but it's different than where he's from. Okay, so let's play a game. Let's talk about how you can get asked for an appointment. One great way to do it is as a referral. A referral might be if I called up Vicky and I said, hey, Vicky, I know you know a lot of people. I've started a business recently. I'm wondering if you'd sit down with me and look at it, because maybe you could lead me to some of the right people. I did not ask Vicky. I asked her to look at it to lead me to the right people, okay? An evaluation might be if I called up Anthony and I said, hey, Anthony, I know that you've run successful businesses for years. I'd love you to take a look at what I'm doing. I'd love to show you what I'm doing, because you might be able to evaluate it and tell me how to do it better based on your experience. I'm not asking him to do the business. I'm asking him to evaluate it and maybe even coach me a little bit. Look at it. A direct or an indirect approach might be if I called up Alex and I said, hey, Alex, I loved when we worked together in the past. I would love to sit down with you, show you what I'm doing. I think it's something you would be great at. You may or may not be interested, but either way, I'm expanding in the area, and I think you could really help me out, okay? Now, I called it direct indirect because I asked him directly, but then I pulled it back by saying you may or may not be interested. Now, years ago when I started, I started as a product approach. But after I was on products, something happened. My friend called me up and he said, hey, I'd like you to look at the business. So I ended up being a direct approach because he asked me to look at the business directly. I want you to do me a favor. If you were and by the way, all these approaches are great. They're all wonderful. If you were a referral approach, please stand up for me. If someone called you just for referrals but not for you, stand up. And if you're in the front, look back behind you. How many people are standing? Almost nobody. This is interesting. How about if you were an evaluation approach? Someone called you and said, I just want you to evaluate it. Not really for them, but to take a look at it. So let's look. So we got 2, we got 5. So evaluation approach, maybe we have 25 people that are standing. That's outstanding, okay? How about if you were a direct or a direct indirect approach? Someone approached you and asked you to look at it for you. I want you to stand up. Wow. Hong Kong is so different. Because before I came out here, I wrote the answer. And you may be able to read this. It says direct, indirect approach. Because I knew what it would be. Because it's the same everywhere in the world I've done this. Why? How do I know that? Because I'm a magician? No, because you know why a direct or a direct, indirect approach works? Because it shows people you're committed. It shows them that you're doing it. It shows them that you have interest in them. It's honest. Sometimes when we do the others, we're sort of asking for a referral evaluation, but what are we hoping? We're hoping they see it and want to do it, but we feel sneaky when we're doing it. So if we feel sneaky, it comes out like that. I mean, I called people up and I was just very honest. I think this is going to be great. I want you to see it. You may or may not be interested, but I don't want you mad at me 3 years from now because I didn't show you this. And that's how I approach people. Take a look. If you're not interested, you will not hurt my feelings. It's very important to take the pressure down. Let people know it's information only. Keep it on a professional level that way. What are some key words or phrases? Help. You heard me use that. I'm expanding or growing. I say that wherever I'm at, even if it's in my hometown. I'm expanding my business. Perhaps you could help me. No pressure, information only. You've heard me say that. You may or may not be interested. You heard me say that. Would you be willing to evaluate it? Possibly you could lead. You've heard me say every one of these in different sentences. Don't try to put them all in one sentence. That gets awkward, okay? But these are key words. You can write them down. You can have them in your phone. You can have them to be able to talk to people. If you're going to text before you call, are you available for a quick phone call? Can I give you a quick call? Chat, available. Now, sometimes when I text somebody, they'll say, well, what are you texting me about? What do you need to call me about? Anybody ever have that happen? So then I'll say, That's why I'm texting you. It takes too long to say in a text. So then I can get on a phone call with them and just answer them honestly and boom, give them a call. Let's talk about how we can make appointments. I've always used the phone a lot. And the reason I've used the phone a lot to make appointments is I wanted to move quick. Okay? Some people say, well, I do it all in person. I'm like, you can't be around enough people fast enough. So here's what we've taught on the Moving Up seminars. It's what I teach on a regular basis. And I want to explain the logic behind it because there's science and logic behind this. When you call someone, if I call someone up, I'm going to say, hey, I only have a second or I only have a minute. The reason I'm calling is, I'm not sure, Alice, if you're aware, I've owned my own business for a number of years. I would love to sit down with you. So again, why don't I say, hey, Alice, do you have a minute? What happens when someone asks you for a minute? It takes how long? 10 minutes. Every time someone asks me for a minute, I'm like, I better block a half hour out. So if they call me, but if someone calls me and says, hey, I'm sort of in a hurry, can I talk to you for just a second? I know they're in a hurry, it's going to be quick. So that's the mental part of it. I edify why I'm calling them. Anthony, I loved when we worked together in the past, or you've always been so diligent in your work. I'm giving them a compliment about something, and it's a true compliment because that's why I'm calling them. I'd love to get together for coffee or for tea or just get together. And I always say, I'd like to get together with you for about 45 minutes to an hour. I want to share with you this concept you've never heard of or never seen before. Okay? I don't ask for 10 or 15 minutes. Why not? I don't think you can do anything in 10 or 15 minutes personally. You can't even get into a conversation in 10 or 15 minutes. So I want some time to be able to talk to them. And then I'm just going to keep rolling with it. You may or may not be interested. Either way is fine with me. Why do I say he may or may not be interested? Because the number one reason people don't meet with people is they're worried about being pressured. So I'm letting them know right away, it's okay if you're not interested. Can you help me out? People like to help people. If the date doesn't work, I ask, when is the soonest we could get together? So if I said to Anthony, I'd like to get together on Tuesday. And tell me if this has ever happened to any of you. And he says, I can't get together on Tuesday. So then here's what we tend to do. We say, well, how would Wednesday be? And he says, Wednesday won't work either. So then we go, how would Thursday be? And he says, Thursday I got a late night of work. So then we go, how's the weekend? Anybody ever done this? So here's the problem with that. What if you just showed your potential business partner? You've just showed them that you have nothing going on in your business because you have every night free and the whole weekend. So instead of doing that, I'm going to say to Anthony, when is the soonest we could get together? He's going to give me a date, and I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to make that work. Because people want to work with people who have busy schedules. It's one of the things I love. I love when people say to me, yeah, but all my friends are really busy. I'm like, you have a great potential team then. Because you know what I've learned? The busiest people make the best business builders. Because they're used to doing a lot of different things. So adding something else on top of it is not that hard for them. Then at the end of the conversation, as we're getting ready to hang up, I'm just going to say to Anthony, hey, Anthony, I am really busy. I know you're really busy. Do you see anything that could come in between or prevent us from keeping this appointment? So what am I doing on that last step? What I'm doing is I am confirming with Anthony that it's important to me. Because if you get a lot of cancellations, a lot of times that's because you're not confirming that it's important to you to be able to do that. Then, of course, I'm going to contact Anthony in between appointments. Everything I just talked about, you can watch on a YouTube video. It's called Lose the Scripts, Make the Calls. It's 18 minutes, I believe. There's another one called Call Workshops. So you can take that. You can watch it. You can sort of perfect this and do it over and over again. There's another new YouTube video that just came out. And it's called Talking in Themes. And that's with myself and Dennis Franks. And really what we talk about are themes of the business, like the 45-year plan versus the 2 to 3 year plan. The shopping annuity theme, which is so important in what we're doing right now. Professionals coming into the business. So you have the ability to listen to that and use some of that. Because really what we're doing is we're just having conversations with people. Don't make this harder than it is. You're having conversations with people when you're recruiting. I do want to make sure you use professional language. This cracks me up when I hear new people talking. So let's talk about some of it. Don't say, I joined Market Hong Kong. Say, I started my own business. Don't say, I'm a member of Market Hong Kong. Say, I own a business. Don't say, I do Market Hong Kong. That just sounds weird. Say, I work for myself. This is my favorite of all these, because I'll hear a new business person saying, hey, Tuesday night, we have a UBP. Can you come with me? Now, you're talking to a guest. What is the guest thinking? They're thinking, what's a UBP? And then the person will go, oh, it's where you get to meet the UFOs. No, you've now made it weird again. Okay, so instead of that, we say there's a business presentation Tuesday night. Sometimes, in our business, we have so many of these little acronyms, don't we? Let's go to the NUOT, the B5, then the ECCT, and then you can hit this level now. It becomes weird. So you have to lose all that when you talk to guests. Talk in a language they understand. I hit 1,200 and 1,200, and I got my first check. They don't know what you're talking about. Just say I earned my first commission. My sponsor's name is Dan. That is the weirdest term I've ever heard, sponsor, right? I just say my business partner is Dan. I want you to meet people in my upline or my downline. That reeks of multi-level marketing, by the way. So I just talk about meeting my business partners. I want you to meet my teammates, people I work with. I already have people below me. I've heard people, they're talking to someone, they go, hey, this business is great. I already have people below me. What does that mean? If you don't know anything about the business. My business is already growing. Don't say I'm working with a national supervising coordinator. Because you know what a guest thinks they don't know what a national supervising coordinator is. You might as well say I'm working with a Starfleet commander. It's about the same. Say you're working with someone, you can say what they've earned in a 4-week pay cycle. This one is like chalk, nails on a chalkboard to me. When do you want to sign up or get in? We're not getting in something. We're starting a business. We're registering a business. Check out my shop.com portal. It sounds like you're going on a cruise ship, right? Check out my shop.com site. That's all it is. How about some of the objections we run into when does anybody ever get objections in this room? All right. Anybody ever get this one? Is this a pyramid? Anyone ever got that one? Okay, you may want to write this down. I'm going to give you the best answer. Okay? You ready? No. Everybody got it? I keep it really simple. Is this a pyramid? No. What if they ask more questions? I'll talk about our A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau. I'll talk about a torch award. I'll talk about the fact if I have to say anything else, I'll say you can get started and make more money than me. Can you do that at your job? That really changes the concept in their mind. But I keep it real simple. No. Is this Amway? Has anyone ever heard anything like that? Is this Amway? So again, I give a very complicated answer. No. It's a completely new concept, something you've never seen before. And that's how I leave it. I don't bash other companies. I think that's very bad to do when you're talking to a prospect because it makes you sound, if you say you're not something enough, it makes you sound like you are something. So I just say, no, it's not. It's an entirely new concept. In fact, usually when I show it to people who have some experience in networking, the number one thing they tell me is that's not what I thought it would be after they look at it. Now, you can always ask a question back to them too. What's your experience with any of this? Have you ever heard anyone say, I don't have the time? And we're a busy society, right? And you haven't even shown them anything. I'll acknowledge it. I'll say, I agree. I know how busy you are. In fact, that's one of the reasons I called you. I know you know a lot of people, and busy people do great with our business, but you may or may not be interested. Could you give me 1 hour to look at it? If after looking at it, you don't find a way this will fit into your schedule, then I'll never ask you to look at it again, and you don't have to worry about any more time than that. Okay, so I'm not asking them to do it. I'm asking them to give me some time to look at it. Sometimes, let me go back one. Sometimes you get though, I don't have the time after they've looked at the business plan, don't you? Sometimes they say, well, it looks good, but I don't know if I have time to fit it in with everything. I always go right back to them and say, I didn't know if you would. I know how busy you are. I totally respect that. But how about if we do this? Did you think of some people you know who might have the need to get more time or might have more time than you to do this? And then I'll say, can you help me get in front of them? I'll do the work. They can take a look at it. And if they decide it's something they want to do, you may want to come back and take a look again about whether you could fit into this. Because then, if I'm talking to Nina and she leads me to Joanne, and Joanne says, yeah, I want to do it, I'm going to go back to Nina and say, Joanne's going to do this. You're already getting started if you have the time to get started. It's amazing how people find time when you've already started to do the work for them and with them. Then they'll do more. I don't have the money. Has anyone ever heard this? I'd like to do it, but money's tight. I always tell them, all I want to do is sit down with you. Don't bring any money with you when you come to meet with me. Let's just look at it. Let's see what's going on with it. Don't worry about the money part of it. That takes all the pressure off again. If it's something you want to do, we will talk about how we can capitalize this and get it started for you. How would I do that? If someone wanted to I'd have them start moving products. That's what I'd do. I'd have them start moving products. I have to talk with my spouse. Have you ever heard this one? This one's hard because you don't know if it's real or not. Not that the spouse is real. You don't know if it's a real objection. And sometimes what they're doing is that they're trying to nicely tell you they're not interested. So I always just say that's great. I said, if you're really interested, the best thing we could do would be to get together with your spouse. I'll share this with them. You get to see it a second time. Because I know if you go home and try to share what I showed you, it's going to be really hard to do. Now, sometimes people are great with that. Sometimes there's like no way they want to do it. I have never brought anyone in the business who would not let me share it with the spouse if they were worried about the spouse. Very interesting. So you always try to get together with the spouse. Has anyone ever heard this? How much are you earning? How much are you making? I think what a crazy question that someone would ask you that in your business. So I'm going to give you my tips for recruiting and answering questions. Always be honest. You recruit more people when you're honest and you have integrity. If you're not making any money yet, be honest. Say, you know what? I haven't started making any commissions yet. I'm making retail profit. But the reason I called you is because I'm getting serious about building the business. I always talk about where I'm going, not where I've been. Where am I going, not where I've been? Because people want to be with people who know where they're going, are committed to what they're doing, and have a belief that they're going to be successful. Now, what if you've been in the business a while? So you've been in the business a while, and you're like, I've been in the business 3 years. I'm not making the kind of money I want to. And you call somebody, and they say, well, I know you've been doing this 3 years. How much are you making? Honesty. Say, you know what? For the last 3 years, I've learned a lot. And I didn't always treat it that serious, but I am now. And that's why I'm calling you. And I just, again, boom, right, go into where I'm going, what I'm going to do. There's nothing to ever stop you from contacting someone. Let me think about it. Is this hard? Someone says, let me think about it. The best thing you can do is book an appointment to get back together. I'm going to ask them, what do you need to think about that I can send you, and can we book an appointment to get back together? Do I have to sell anything? Has anyone ever heard this? This one cracks me up, because a lot of times I'll hear people on stage and they say things like, all we do is share, right? We sell. We're a business. We move products to end consumers. So if someone asks me, do you sell? I always say yes, but not the way you're thinking. In today's day and age, we do almost everything online, and we generate customers who order from us over and over and over again. So instead of having to go out and find new customers every year, I'm looking to find 10 to 15 regular customers who order on a monthly or every other month basis from me, and totally make sure they understand what we do. I'm not interested. That was before seeing the plan. I wasn't sure if you would be. We know that, right? And I just tell them, take a look, give me an hour, see what you think. If you're not interested after seeing it, fantastic. After looking at it, timing may not be right for you. Can we stay in touch, or can you lead me to people? I'm always trying to get people to lead me to people. Here's what I don't want you to do. If someone's not interested, that's okay. Don't get upset. Don't be mad about it. All we're doing is it's like taking a deck of cards. In a deck of cards, how many aces are there? Is it the same in Hong Kong? There's 4, right? See, what some of us do is we take that deck of cards and we flip over the first card and it's a 9. And you know what we do? We take a magic marker and we try to make it an ace. We're like, I'm going to make this thing an ace. This is going to be an ace. They're going to come in this business with me. No, thank you for looking at it. Flip the next card. See, the reason we don't flip the cards is we didn't build the names list, which is why I started with the names list first. Because if you have 300 people to contact, you're not worried about the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 who's saying no. Everything has to be focused on result-producing activities. Use and sell the products, share the business, share the shopping annuity, and sell tickets, which are education. One of the things I want all of you to do, and I know you can all do this, is learn to show the plan. Learn to show the plan. Why do I know you can all do it? Because I believe you can all read. And if you can read, you can use a flip chart. And if you can't read, I'm betting you can press play on your computer and play a video. Or you can have a PowerPoint that someone can show for you. So there's nothing hard. It's not like 1997 when we had to draw it out and you had to remember all the steps. And I'd have it on a note card. For 6 months, I carried note cards with me so I didn't forget one of the steps as I went through it. This is all it. The only thing stopping you now is you. By the way, let me ask you, who wants to make a lot of money with this business? Is there anyone in Hong Kong who wants to do that? Oh, good. And I was glad to see that. Let me ask you the second question. Who makes the most money? Do you know? I don't mean in the room. Who makes not JR. Yes, Joanne does, but who makes the most money? The person who shows the plan the most. So if you want to make the most money, what should you get good at? Showing the business plan. Wow. Sometimes there's just rays of brilliance that come out, aren't there? People, we want to complicate this thing so much. It's not that hard. Who makes the most money? The person who shows the most plan and gets their teammates to show the most plans. How do you show the most plans? You make the most calls to set up. You set appointments. The person who shows the most appointments. How do you get appointments? You make calls. How do you make calls? You make a names list. Holy cow, there's a method to today's training. It all goes together. Look at all the ways we can share this business. All the different things that we have the ability to do. Now here's a couple things while you're showing it I do want you to think about. Before the plan, if I'm showing it for somebody, I want to get to know the person I'm showing it to a little bit. Form is family, occupation, recreation, and money. One of the things I never do, I never say, oh, You must hate your job. Sometimes people think that's like they're going to get, like, it's funny because I think sometimes we think we're going to say that and the person's going to be like, holy cow, I do. I just realized it. That's not what happens. If you'd say to somebody, you must hate your job, what's the natural reflex? Natural, and this is psychology. The natural reflex is, hey, it's not that bad. They're going to defend it. I always go the opposite way. Pauline, you must love your job. And you know what Pauline says? It's not as great as you think. Because that's the natural reflex. So I'm asking questions, family, occupation, things I talked about earlier on the asking questions part of it. Remember, people are attracted to you when you show you care, you show you're excited, and you show you're passionate about your business. It's very interesting. Everyone, the numbers we get, for those of you who like numbers, like I love numbers. I love the math of the plan. But we forget that when we first started, none of us understood the plan. You do realize that. None of us understood it completely. Why did we get started? We got started because we believed in somebody. We believed in the concept. We believed in where they were going, the team they had. People are buying you. And here's the deal. That means you have to become more than you are right now. You have to become more. Read better books. Listen to better audio tapes. Develop that confidence that may be missing a little bit now. So the more you become, the more people you're going to attract to the business. During the plan, I let them know that our team will support them. I let them know they have a system to support them. By the way, you guys are cracking me up because you're taking so many pictures. You know why I'm laughing? Do you know where all these slides are from? From the Basic 5 you haven't been to in a while. Because if you had been, you'd know these slides are right there. So you can take all the pictures you want, but if you want to download them, they're in the Basic 5, okay? Let them know your team will support them. Let them know the system will help them. Number one reason people are scared to be an entrepreneur, they're scared they have to do it all on their own. So here you're just confirming that. Explain how it'll help them. Let them know that, I let people know some people will be skeptical and some people will be negative about the business. Hey, we're a little outside the box. We're not a traditional job, right? And I am great with that. I've read, tens of books on millionaires. And you know what I find about all millionaires? They thought outside the box. They didn't go to work every day. They didn't do the same thing everybody else did. They thought outside the box. So I let them know. Some people will be skeptical. Some will be negative. Some will also be really excited. In fact, in this day and age, more people are excited than ever before. Be prepared to ask if they're interested in getting started or learning more at the end of a presentation. Now, I'm not going to start them that day. But I may ask them, based on what you've seen, are you interested in getting started? Are you interested in learning more? Because I want to know what I need to do as a next step with them. When you schedule a follow-up appointment, if I have a meeting, if the follow-up appointment is scheduled, I had a successful meeting. That's the key. You can have the greatest meeting in the world. If you don't schedule the next appointment, it's a failure. You ever see where when JR goes somewhere and he's training, he puts a bunch of pictures on. Anybody ever seen that? Like if he's in a home doing a business presentation, he puts a bunch of pictures on. Does anyone know why he does that? It's not just for social media. He wants a picture because here's what he does. He then asks whoever's there with him as a business partner, what is the follow-up on this person, this person, this person? So he's got the picture in front of him because to him, if you don't book a follow-up, it is not a successful meeting. And I would have to agree with him 100% with that. Have a sense of urgency. What do I mean by sense of urgency? Book the meeting in the next 24, 48, 72 hours if important. Because the longer you go between appointments, the more likely someone's going to lose interest. If I'm scheduling a follow-up to answer questions, I schedule it, I say, write down your questions, I answer them, I get them to lead to their people. Say, why don't you get a person or two in front of this? Let's take a look at it with them. You can see it a second time. and then we'll see if you might even have somebody ready to learn more with you. Sell products. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow a little bit. But we need to, when we show the business plan, we got to stop just registering people for shop.com. That irritates me to no end. I mean, I want to register them to be a customer on shop.com, but I want to sell them a BV product when I show the plan. Would you guys agree with that? That could be important. Could you move a lot more product if you sold BV product as well as registered them? And I want to sell tickets. I want to sell tickets to the next events because tickets are everything. If I'm going to get them started, I'm going to sell tickets because tickets are education. I'm going to book a registration date, and I'm going to help qualify their top 10 prospects. I want to get those 20 people we talked about, the 10 who will look at the plan and the 10 that they think would be great. I want to get in front of them with them as fast as I can. That might be a couple small group meetings. It might be a bunch of individual two-on-one meetings, whatever way it is. In between the appointments, I'm going to confirm. I usually send a text. Say, Michael, I do not send to Michael, hey, I'm confirming we're getting together tomorrow. I send to Michael a text saying, I'm really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay? So I'm just confirming ahead what we're going to do. I might send him a webinar link. I love to use any of the power profiles that might match somebody who has a similar occupation. I might send them the new About MA document. If you haven't looked at that, it's a great document. YouTube videos, wonderful to be able to use. I might schedule a 3-way call, get them on the phone with one of my partners. I'm not a big fan of doing 3-way calls ahead of, when I prospect, but I'm a huge fan of doing 3-way calls after I've already met with somebody to get them on the phone with a business partner and let them hear from somebody else. So keep the main thing the main thing. Use and sell the products, share the business, share the shopping annuity, and sell tickets. If you're not doing one of these 4 things, you're not doing the business. I love when people say, well, I worked 2 hours last night on Facebook. Liking photos is not working. Go show the plan. We need duplication as we build, don't we? You ever heard this? No tickets, no money? Okay, it's the truth. Whoever's got the most people in here right now is getting the most hours of work today. That's how I look at it. Simple way to look at it. 8 hours today. If it's just you and you have no business partners, you're getting 8 hours. If you have 10 business partners, you're getting 80 hours. If you have 100 business partners, you're getting 800 hours today of training going into your group. You can't replace. I hope you've enjoyed as I've been going through this segment. I hope it did 2 things to you. I hope you said, man, I love this segment. And I hope the other part of you was like, man, why didn't I work harder to get people here? Because if they heard this, they'd want to get started. Because every time I'm in a seminar, it's the best and the worst. The best is I learn something new. The worst is I get mad at myself I didn't get more people there. So create a sense of urgency with these tickets. After showing the plan, you sell tickets. After the you guys had a great UBP last night. Holy cow. Yeah, you should clap for yourselves. That was awesome. And I hope after that you sold tickets, maybe some tickets for people to come here. Are there any guests in the room today? I won't pick on you or anything at all. You can raise your hand if you're a guest. Are there any guests? Oh, good. Glad you're here. Any other guests? Good. Got some guests? Okay, got some people who don't want to raise their hand. That's great. It's a fun business. You're going to enjoy it if you decide to do it. You're going to be with great teammates and you're going to have great training. During the new business owner registration, I have a getting started guide and I have tickets on that getting started guide because if they haven't bought them, I'm selling them to them right then because I need them to get the education. I create a sense of urgency. I let them know. You know what I love? You guys are going to sell out your event in October by tomorrow at the latest. I hope you do it today. I'm going to love when people want to get more tickets and they can't. I love when that happens. People are like, why do you love that? Because the lazy ones lose. If you don't get up and get the tickets, you're the one who didn't take the action. I mean, and people say, oh, I got my one. So you're not going to grow for the next 6 months? I mean, you have to have a minimum of 3. Those of you who are serious should have 6 to 10, right? To hit the is 10 to hit the challenge? So you 10 to hit the challenge. I mean, you should be texting people right now who aren't here saying, we need to get tickets for that October event because it's going to be sold out. Your leadership school, when this comes up, you want to walk out of here with tickets to move, not to your existing team, to all the prospects that are going to be coming in as you do that. By the way, I don't get paid a penny for selling tickets. Man, I wish I did, because I love selling them. You know what I get paid for? I get paid for building big organizations. And the training I just gave you is the exact one I give my same team. Because here's the deal. I'm treating you today as if I personally sponsored you in the business. And if I did personally sponsor you in the business, I would be telling you to buy 3 to 10 tickets to that next event, because we're going to work together. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get in front of people, and you need to have those tickets in your hand. How many tickets you buy is really just an indication of how much belief you have in the business. That's what it really comes down to. I went to my first leadership school. I walked out of there with 10 tickets in my hand. I didn't know how I was going to sell them, but you know what I knew? I knew if I was going to grow, I had to have them. I had to have them in my hand. I want you to be that exact same way. Then you can use your Getting Started guides. I'm going to go through this a little bit more tomorrow, but put the tickets on there, have it with you, have it ready to go so that you're able to get a person started right when you bring them in the business by going through these couple pages, these couple different categories that we do have. Last 2 things I want to talk to you about, and then I'm going to wrap up. Master and franchise owner. I know we're going to talk about it during the weekend. Can you stand up if you've ever been hit the Master and Franchise Owner a program? Would you stand up for me if you've ever become a Master and Franchise Owner? All right, give them a round of applause. That is outstanding. All right, here's what I need. We need to have the whole room standing up, because this is a very doable program. It's the guide way of doing things. Complete the shopping unity assessment. I hope everybody in here has done the assessment. That should be automatic. Please, for those guests who raised your hand, when you start, do the assessment right away. Learn what you're using. Have a subscription to UFMS. All of us should have that. Purchase 1,500 of BV. Generate 11,500 Hong Kong dollars worth of partner store products. Sponsor and bring into our business, register in our business, 2 new business partners in a quarter. Attend or conduct a new unfranchised owner training, a basic 5 training in a quarter, and an ECCT in a year. Guys, I'm a big believer in ongoing training. The fact that some of you took so many pictures of the basic 5 slides told me that we need to get back to more basic 5s. Go back with our new people. Purchase a minimum of 3 tickets to the annual convention, minimum, to be able to do that, and complete a basic 5 diagnostic test. I started off saying the secret is there's no secret. It's just boring old habits. It's getting your work in every day when no one's watching. It may be boring, but you know what's not boring? Getting huge checks deposited into your bank account every Friday. How many people are okay with that boring happening every single? James' hand was the first one going up. James almost raised 2 hands on that one. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the morning. Enjoy the rest of the day. Love ya.